I'm interested in going to college as it would allow me to pursue any sort of career I'd like. Also, these days it's very important to have good qualifications and a good degree behind you in order to get a job.
Nowadays, it is quite necessary to go on to college to study something else, just to kind of have a degree and something backing you up to kind of go and get a job.
I'd like to learn about something that I'm interested in and get a job and earn money.
Well, the main factor is obviously to get a job when I grow up. I want to be working for most of my life, so I'll have to go to college.
Well, I found information to help my choices in the prospectuses for each of the colleges.
I've got a lot of my information from the career guidance counsellor. I was able to organise meetings with her and my parents where she gave us lots of information regarding colleges and courses.
Well, freedom is the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to. And not being so tied down in school, and I have the option not to go to lectures if I don't want and all this.
My biggest fear is probably going into a course and hating it.
Biggest fear is definitely be firstly leaving home and going somewhere unfamiliar and settling in.
Probably again the big numbers will be one of the big fears. You kind of get swallowed up in it all. I mean, it is such a new experience that it'll be maybe difficult to settle in at first, but hopefully over time that I'd be able to kind of get more accustomed to it and kind of change from being in a smaller class in second level to bigger numbers in third level.
Well, I decided to go to college because in our house it wasn't really a choice after school.
Going to college just seemed like the natural progression from school. I've planned on going down an academic route my whole life, so.
My decision was hugely influenced by my art teacher in secondary school.
I have a family, I'm married and I have children, so it was like a kind of a joint decision between myself and my wife that I would go to college because it affects us all.
Well, my friends were a big part of influenced me to go to college. I would hate to be the only one not going on college nights out and going straight into working life.
I really want to make a year abroad because I want to improve my English.
I decided to study abroad because I would like to experience new culture.
I really want to get a perspective from every people around the world.
I really didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. I knew what I didn't want to do. So I suppose I went from there and went by process of elimination, ruled out everything that I couldn't see myself in.
We had a guidance counsellor in school, so that helped me to make the choice.
I didn't get much help in school about information about colleges around the country.
I researched online. I went to the open evening and I just asked my friends that I know that went to college before.
My career guidance teacher has had a lot of interaction with the course I'm currently doing, so she was able to tell me that she felt it would be a good fit for me.
I did a lot of research on the internet.
I got in contact with one of the international officers.
Before I arrived at college, I thought that it was going to be the college life that you see in all the movies where you're going out every night, having fun. But the reality of it is, as soon as you get assignments, you're straight into the work.
I didn't expect that much, but I really like it here.
I find Irish people very friendly, very fun to get along. I feel very at home in Ireland.
I was expecting a great time in college.
I really thought it was going to be very stressful. Well, honestly, I was terrified. I didn't know what to expect.
I hadn't been in school in a couple of years.
It was a lot more difficult than I'd expected.
There's no teachers coming after you for work or anything. It's up to you.
Being a mature student, my expectations of college were that I was going to be surrounded by a lot of younger people.
It was just a huge change. I knew it was going to be different. I just didn't know how different it was going to be.
So my expectations and my actual experiences definitely did differ. It's much better than I thought it was going to be. I thought to follow the courses is more difficult than I thought before.
When I first got here, it was like cold. It's really cold.
Back in my country, it's quite hot weather.
My biggest fear going in was just meeting new people, being the new kid in school.
Well, I did struggle in secondary school because I am dyslexic, so I did struggle with that, and I was terrified. I didn't know what to expect coming into college. I suppose it was the studying. Coming back as a mature student and being out of study for so long, I was just really afraid that I wasn't going to be able for it. Especially in the first weeks, I was a little bit homesick.
My first day in class was a bit intimidating.
Well, my first class was a bit awkward.
At first, I was scared of the assignments part of it because I just didn't understand how the briefs and stuff. So we needed some translator or something like that to help me out.
My biggest fear was being able to fit everything into your working day. I work part-time as well.
And financially, if I was going to be able to manage with having a family and being in college,
My first impression of college was that it was huge, way bigger than secondary school.
My first experience in college was quite positive because I settled in quickly and I was comfortable.
It was strange, like adapting to everything. It's not really what I expected.
I think because I moved away from home, that was the big focus for me. I was kind of settling in, meeting my housemates and kind of discovering the town.
I found it a little bit difficult to adapt to independent learning.
The first few weeks in college were a little bit daunting.
The first few weeks starting is kind of, it is a different experience because in school you're kind of, everything's kind of put on a plate for you. So in college it is very different. Like
trying to fit in and trying to find your way around first of all.
Starting college was new. It was like trying to get back in. It was first year all over again.
When I first arrived in Ireland at the college, the first weeks I was not feeling at home because everything was new.
When I first arrived in college, I was surprised at how much the college had developed over the last few years.
I suppose the amount of mature students that were there, that you know, it was a far higher number than I would have ever imagined.
What also surprised me was the volume of work that we had to do and probably the difficulty of it as well.
The most challenging thing I found about first year was getting up for college.
Getting around to lectures, finding them.
One of the biggest challenges for me going into first year of college was adjusting to moving away from home.
Probably sitting down to do my first assignment and where to start.
Balancing everything that I'd taken on.
The main challenges of the further education is the assignments. It's a big jump from secondary school.
My most difficult challenge was like settling down.
The registration process was really, really simple. You could do most of it online.
The registration was just so drawn out with having to go into the offices, and it was just time consuming.
One thing with the orientation was we were just told so much. We were brainwashed with information. I mean, you were just hearing about libraries and catalogues and lecturers and halls and rooms and everything. It was too much. We were fizzled by the end of it.
Maybe if we got a book list or a reading list or something like that before we started college, that we could kind of be giving ourselves a bit of grounding on it instead of having to hit the ground running so fast.
If I was to change orientation, I think I would make it a little bit shorter and to the point, because like one of the other girls said, it was kind of a lot of information.
If they had sort of, sat down with us and went through structures and things like that just before we even came in, maybe that would have helped.
The biggest challenges on the course I'm doing are, throughout my undergrad, it was all really creative and drawing pictures and doing design work. But now, because I'm doing my postgrad now, a lot of it is writing and essays and writing.
At the beginning, it was sometimes a little bit the language, because if the lecturers are speaking very fast, sometimes it's a bit difficult to follow.
Right now, I have 5 assignments on the go, and it's just getting them done to the best of my ability in the time that I have to do them.
The academic challenges I face on a weekly basis are dealing with group projects. There's something I just can't cope with whatsoever.
In college then you have a lot of group work, like most of our modules are group work. You're graded in a group.
It's interesting. It's something we all have to do, and it's a learning experience.
It's a great way to show what way it's going to be in the working world, that you have to work with people.
It was a totally new thing, trying to work with other people and having patience.
Definitely different having to rely on someone else to get your work done.
Me personally, I prefer working in a team.
It's easier to do the work when you're doing it with someone else, definitely.
The differences between secondary school and the FETAC and then third level, I think, is the responsibility to take initiative and learn yourself.
It's very much up to yourself. It's independent learning.
Studying college, you don't really know where to start or when to stop. The volume of work can be as much or as little as you like.
I find there's a lot more study in secondary school.
If you want to study in college, it's your decision to do it.
Yeah, I think there is a big difference between the staff and student interactions. In college, they treat you the same as them.
Like in secondary school, I kind of found I was terrified to go up and talk to them.
They kind of leave you to do your own thing really, and it's not a one-to-one kind of basis.
you don't know your lecturer doesn't know you. You don't interact with them every day.
I'm on a first name basis with my tutors now.
In secondary school, getting an A or a B or above 70 was attainable, whereas now the thought of a first is just something that you can work towards.
As secondary school teachers, you're changing teacher every 40 minutes and it's every single day. Whether in further education you get an hour plus with a teacher, getting to know them a lot more.
I think after my first assessment, that's when I figured out that I was like on my own in this, that it was up to me.
In most of our lectures, our lecturers told us what was expected of us.
You know what you want at the end of it, and from that you know what's expected of you.
You kind of figure out what's expected pretty quickly when you've kind of got midterms rolling every 4 or 5 weeks.
Unfortunately, as a mature student, I think you're less likely to get involved in as many extracurricular activities in college life.
I joined the badminton club, the fencing club.
When you're studying master, you don't have lots of time to join any societies.
Apart from my studies, I would be involved in the student union. I'm the chairperson of the student union.
I'm not really aware of the role of the student union.
They helped out a lot getting us money, raising money for our jerseys for our football club.
Organise different events like beer pong.
It's Rag Week actually this week, so the Students' Union do give us a lot of support.
This year I've been involved in student mentoring, which is just we're helping out first years again to integrate into college.
We try and help the new students as much to settle into social induction.
In about the second week of college, we were introduced to this PASS programme, which stood for Peer Assisted Study Sessions. PASS was one of the best things that came out of first year, because really it was second year students filling us in on their experiences of first year. You know, like PASS was about them kind of helping us along, and it wasn't just about modules and economics and accounting. They actually taught us everything we needed to know about college life that like lecturers wouldn't really tell us, you know, how to mind ourselves and where to go on a Thursday night, and you know, how to avoid staying out of trouble, and you know, important things like that made your experience so much worthwhile. The most enjoyable thing about first year was the whole experience.
Just kind of getting to know new people and getting involved in all these activities and events.
Taking a step towards my future and the career that I want to pursue.
Learning, like you're learning something new every single day.
I've always wanted to go to college. It's something that has played on my mind since leaving school. I'm so delighted that I am after getting the opportunity now to go and do what I wanted to do.
Realising that I can do it and that I've done it well, and with a bit of help I can carry on and keep on going and get a career.
The most enjoyable part of this time in college, I think, are the new friends.
The most enjoyable thing I found about my further education experience is meeting new people.
Getting back into working in a lab.
My most enjoyable aspect of college is now that I'm in the second phase in postgrad, I get to work with the new students coming in.
It's definitely getting involved in things outside of the course itself.
The social life here in Ireland.
If I had to start over again, I'd probably join more societies.
Start studying a lot sooner than I would, because you're going to fall behind pretty quickly and the lecturers aren't going to be on your back about it.
If I was to start again, I definitely wouldn't do anything differently.
I've loved the experience so far and it's worked out really, really well.
Start the work earlier.
I don't think I would have done anything differently. I'm really happy to where I am right now.
And I'd probably concentrate more on the academics than I did last year. I just about scraped by.
I think that the learning process that I had to go through really made me who I am now. So if I started again, then who knows who I'd be.
I probably would have taken part in more activities within the college.
If I could give advice to someone filling out their CEO,
to put what you really want first, even if you don't think you're going to get the point.
Take your time.
Really do what you're interested in, not just something that all your friends are doing, things like that, because in college you actually do really have to be interested in the course you're doing. You're going to struggle.
You shouldn't really worry about points to a certain extent. Like, put your dream course down first.
Just research every course, every different kind of university, FC.
Don't be frightened of it.
Make sure it's the course you want to do.
They need to really think long and hard about what they want to do.
If you're thinking about coming to college, you know, just research it. Make sure that you research it. You figure out what the best option is for you, and there's ways around everything. There's backdoors to everything.
Since I've come to college, it's been the best year and a half or year and 3/4 nearly of my life at this stage.